Today I'm going to discuss epistemic consequentialism, so stay tuned. So my topic is epistemic consequentialism, and this is something that I've known about in abstract for a long time, but as soon as I heard the term and it gave me a name to put to this sort of phenomenon I've been seeing everywhere, it really helped a lot. So those two words, so epistemic, meaning of or relating to knowledge or beliefs, and then consequentialism, meaning relating to the consequences of something, right? So what epistemic consequentialism is essentially when you change your beliefs or you form your beliefs on the basis of the outcome of believing a certain thing. So if I were an epistemic consequentialist, I might say, I believe that all children are equally gifted because if I and other people all believe that children are equally gifted, then we will put our effort and nurturing equally into all children, and that'll provide a wonderful environment for them, and it'll be so much better, and we'll live in a better world, right? So now you might notice a problem there, which is that what does my reason for believing that children are all equally gifted have to do with children actually all being equally gifted? So, evidence for a statement or a position consists of, either logical arguments that this position follows from something more well-known, this belief, if we know that X is true or probably true, and we can show that Y follows from X, then that's evidence for Y. It sort of ties it to something else that we maybe have better evidence of, or it can be empirical. We observe many instances of a given phenomenon, or we sort of find a correlation that goes along with our hypothesis in a certain causation. So if I wanted to actually show that all children are equally gifted, well, that's actually a really strong statement, and it would be very hard to show. But you could maybe, if you gave all children, sort of aptitude tests, and you managed to give it to them all at a really young age before they had been molded by school systems or their parents even very much, and you found that they were all getting really similar scores, or there was, no correlation with later achievement, and that later achievement seemed to only follow from having great teaching and having resources and rich parents who can send you to good schools and stuff, then maybe you could conclude that all children are equally gifted, or you could at least state that as evidence for this hypothesis. I don't actually believe that all children are equally gifted. I think probably, or almost certainly, and there's strong evidence that all children are not equally gifted, and that people are born different, just as our heights and our eye colors are different, so is our intrinsic ability to, in totally different areas, right? So, but, I acknowledge that maybe in a world where everyone believes that children are equally gifted, it might be like a sort of noble lie, right? Maybe the world would be a better place if everyone believed that. But that still doesn't make me believe it, unless I'm an epistemic consequentialist, in which case, I don't know if I would believe it, or if people who espouse, things that are epistemically consequentialist really believe what they say they believe, but at least they say things, like, I believe this, and wouldn't it, because the world's a better place if we don't. But I think if you get them, in private and say, come on, do you really believe that? I mean, the evidence isn't great. Then they'll probably admit to you that, yeah, but I gotta say it because I don't want this bad outcome to occur from people believing not that. So, I mean, I used a pretty tame example, but one example you see a lot is race, and anytime someone does research about the different intelligence or different traits that we assign moral significance to of different races, you have a lot of people who are just horrified that anyone would even ask that question and say, oh, that is so wrong. And I think a lot of it is the knowledge, and I believe this is true, that if you found results that said people of different races were really different in ways that people find to be morally significant, that would become a justification for racists. And I honestly think that is true, and the world would be and probably is a better place where most people believe that the difference between people of different races are cosmetic and not morally significant. But it doesn't make it true or false, right? The point is that the consequences of a belief are somewhat orthogonal to the sort of moral outcomes, the consequences, and the consequences of belief are somewhat orthogonal to the actual truth of it. Now, I mean, that might not be true in the case of if I have beliefs about investment, right? Then, of course, having true beliefs about the best way to invest my money for retirement does, in that case, correspond to having, more wealth when I retire, right? So that would be a case where the distinction between believing something that is good for me and has a good consequence and believing something true is not actually particularly large, or may not exist at all, And so I think in cases where our beliefs are related directly to, our everyday lives and how we execute them, that it doesn't tend to be an issue that people will go around having a belief that maybe they know better, or maybe they don't really have a lot of evidence for, just because they think the world's a better place when they believe that. It tends to be more abstract, removed political things that people resort to epistemic consequentialism on. So post a comment if you know of some examples where people apply epistemic consequentialism, like, I believe X because wouldn't it be nice if X were true, or wouldn't it be nice rather if everyone believed X. That's true epistemic consequentialism. Not that it would be nice if X were true, but that it would be nice if people believed X. So leave a comment if you can think of some good examples of epistemic consequentialism besides the ones I mentioned.